Alright, hey guys, it's your girl Ken, and today I'm coming at you with a very special video. If you know me, you know I moved to New York about 3 years ago. I moved for college. I go to Parsons School of Design. It was a big step, to say the least. I knew it was something I had always wanted to do. From the time I was a little girl, I always knew at some point in my life I wanted to live in New York City. I didn't know that would be for college, but honestly, I can't imagine doing it any other way. I'm excited to hopefully go back for my next year. So basically, as you can tell by the title of this video, I will be giving you 10 pieces of advice for things I've learned from living there and just general tips and things you should know about the city before you're planning on moving there. It's a completely different world going to visit than going to like be a local and actually live there for a substantial amount of time. You pick it up pretty quickly, but I would say the beginning is a little rocky, especially if you're not from a city, not from a fast-paced lifestyle. I'm from a small town in North Carolina, so adjusting to all these things was a big step for me, but I knew I was ready for it, I knew I was meant for it, and there wasn't a day in my mind that I doubted myself and what I could do. I apologize if I ramble in any of these because these are honestly so dear to my heart and things I wish someone would have told me before I moved. I want to do a general disclaimer for how I've seen New York. I think New York is an absolutely wonderful place. And when I say New York, I mean like Manhattan, New York City. To me, that will always be my New York. There's 5 boroughs in New York City, so you should know all 5. If you move there, you should explore all 5. They are all great. But I've just had the pleasure and luxury of living in Manhattan. With Manhattan comes a very selfish, self-centered environment because everyone there is there for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Most people, they fall into the reason/season category. They're there for a couple years on a job. They're there pursuing a dream job, a dream career, a dream passion. They're there to make it big pretty much. As I am also there for a reason/season. This is my take on advice you should know before also moving there. Number 1, if you think every night is going to be some wild, crazy turn-up night, you're wrong. Granted, every night could be one of those crazy, wild nights if you wanted it to be, which is powerful enough. You know if you set foot outside of your place after 11 p.m., you know you're going to have a good time. Like, that's a fact. But that doesn't mean every single night is going to be like that. One, unless you're one of the top 10% that live in the city, you can't afford to. In New York, you don't even start going out until like 11:30 to 12:30 in the evening. Bars and clubs do not close until earliest 2:30, 4:30, sometimes even 5 a.m. So that was a big change for me. And also learning that it's okay not to go out. You still live there, you still have a home, you still have to get things done. You should know if you're moving to go out every single night, you gotta be rich and extra rich and not have responsibilities, because I guarantee you got stuff to do the next day at a reasonable hour. Every night's not that night, and it is a-okay. And it's not going to be, because realistically you got stuff to do. Bottom line, that was a long answer, but. So number 2 is you can live in New York, one of the most populated cities in the country, and feel more alone than ever. Even though there are so many people there, just being aware of that, sometimes you'll go through ups and downs and feel like you're the only one going through it, even though you're surrounded by millions of people. Also, to counterbalance that point, you may feel alone. You'll never have privacy as far as like physicality of your space. Your neighbors are oftentimes very close through a thin little wall. You can hear the person across the street, you can hear the sirens through your window. Like, you are really never alone. I've learned to take those private times really like as a blessing, as a super like special time. Just food for thought if you're used to either a lot of privacy or a lot of like support from the people around you. That can change when you move. Next, I knew this going into it, New York is a very fast-paced city, okay? Things are open for longer. Most things are open by 8 o'clock in the morning, if not 6 o'clock in the morning, and a lot of places don't close until 9 or 10 in the evening. And then you got your nightlife that goes all night long. Like, it really is never dead. If you wanted to not sleep, you could. Wanting to do so much in a day is totally possible in New York if you like to be busy, if you like to be active, if you constantly like things to do. New York is your place. It is great for that. I love being busy. That's why I thrive. I love having like a million little things to do. It's nice to always have a place to go get food, something to always go do. You know, you really take advantage of those late hours. My family thinks I stay up super late, but getting things done, okay? You know, When it hits 10 p.m., my day has just begun. The way you walk, the way you talk, everything you do is just a lot faster in New York, which I love. So I would say that was something that you should know if you're not aware of going there. It might be self-explanatory, but it's a big one and it affects your day-to-day life 100%. 4. This might surprise a lot of people, and some people may disagree with this. It is not a dating city. My main point, people are there for a reason or a season. You could meet someone great and then they could leave the next day. You're really there for yourself. It's all about the hustle, grind, and getting work done. You don't really have time for a relationship. Friends. I would even go as far as to say friends. It's not a guarantee in New York. It's not a guarantee. And honestly, people in New York are okay with not having friends. And I don't know if it's a generational thing. I don't know if it's a societal thing right now. Most people aren't dating or looking for relationships. Nowadays, those things look so much different. And if you want like that traditional, settle down, eventually have kids or like have a house and be established somewhere, that's not what people in New York are typically looking for because they live in New York. That's the tea. Okay, this one's important. As a local, you stay in your bubble. Since you walk most places and you stay very close, you want to really like where you live. Granted, with school I didn't really have a choice and like it kind of just worked out to be great. But like if you're buying or renting or looking for a place to stay, make sure you like what's around you. Sometimes when you move you think you're gonna explore every little nook and cranny, and like you might, but not every day. You're gonna stay in that 10-block radius around your like apartment more times than not. Do your research, know your neighborhood. Make sure you live by some place with an easy access to a subway or public transit. Next. Everyone has this notion that New Yorkers are mean. They're not mean. They're just selfish. Some of the nicest people I've ever met have been local New Yorkers or live in New York now. They really are willing to like give you a helping hand, but it's usually when there's something in it for them. I will say I've never seen like a city rally behind each other like New York does. You talk to a few more strangers than you would anywhere else, and it really is like a high morale city. This isn't obvious. It is so easy to spend money. Common things like my mascara at home is $5. In New York, it's $9 or $10. And it's the same brand, same manufacturer, bought at the same retailer. Like a CVS mascara is $4 to $5 higher. And that's just on a common, like a tiny thing like mascara. That makes food more expensive, clothes more expensive, just you name it. Like it's just gonna be more expensive. And the sales tax is ridiculous. It's like 8 to 9%. If you're gonna be a local, there's always a sale. The sales are a ploy. If you don't realize that by now, you're silly. They're not really a sale. That's all I'm gonna say. You can walk down any street that has any flagship store, there's gonna be a sale. So don't feel like you have to buy it because it's on sale, or that if there's a sale, it means you're saving money. Regardless, you're spending money that you weren't going to. But on that note, I will say there's always a cheaper option. Just learn to quickly ignore the hype and the facade of the shopping, and that's just how it is. Look at things online, look at different retailers, go to different parts of town. But in New York, you have like the Chinatown, you have the knockoff stores, like you can get anything for any price, and that's why I say there's always a cheaper option. Alright, next. You walk everywhere. On average, I take over 10,000 steps a day, but that's another reason why you should like your neighborhood and see if there's parks and different outlets that you can walk and be outside. Also know what kind of shoes you're wearing for what occasion when you're walking places, as well as the temperature. Invest in an umbrella and a good rain jacket. That does not stop you from walking. Grocery shopping. New York, you walk. It's more common to go to the grocery store every 2 to 3 days than like to go once for the week. Second to last one, we're almost there. Number 9, minimalism is key. Again, if you're not rich, you're going to be living in a relatively small space. You do not need everything you think you need. Storage is hard to come by, so everything you have, you will most likely see in your space. It's not like you have like the extra closet where you can just shove your extra stuff or that. This is my last one. People will reach out to you. People you think you're not close to. People that don't know your name. People that you haven't talked to in years will contact you like you've been best friends this whole time, and they'll ask something from you, or advice, or recommendations, or a place to stay. And when I say this, I'm not dissing anyone that's A, done that, or B, like my close friends that know they can always come. I'm referring to the people that like I went to high school with that like come out of the woodworks and they're like, oh my gosh, you live in New York. It was surprising those first 2 years that it continuously happened. So anytime someone has ever asked me that, I try to be as nice and as welcoming as possible and give them legit things that I would do. Like, I don't send them on a wild goose chase. Just know that when you move, people will reach out and they'll want things from you. Depending on what they ask, like, you can say no. And this, I really don't mean this as a diss, and I never have viewed myself as greater than anyone because I live in New York. But I just wanted to throw that out there, that it will happen, and that also have your elevator pitch ready. After I would say like 4 or 5 people reached out, I kind of just copied and pasted the same thing, unless they evolve and change. But that first year I was pretty much doing similar things. And honestly, if I knew more people that lived places that I haven't been before or outside of North Carolina, I would reach out to them too. I'm sure once my friends graduate from college and move other places, I'll hit them up and, you know, ask them for their recommendations. So it's not bad. It's just something, when people do it, don't be alarmed. In the position, you have the power of how it goes. So that is that. That is also everything I want to share with you today. This was a really near to my heart video because it's a lot. It's a lot more than surface level it seems like to live in New York. And I'm sure I could do so many other videos similar to this, as far as talking about art school, talking about art school in New York, talking about anything. So if there's any other New York related videos you want to see, comment down below. Let me know, because I'd be happy to answer those. It's been a great ride, and I want to make the most of this last year coming up at school. And I'm sorry you guys haven't been able to see as much of it. Part of starting this channel, at least from my perspective, was sharing my life in New York, which I constantly get asked about. That's the main thing people want to know when they see me, when we catch up. They're like, how's New York? What's it like? And so that's what I wanted to share, as well as just like familiarize people that could be in a similar position as me, because when I was growing up, no one had done anything like this from my area, or that I knew really. Most people went to college in their towns. I'm here to help, and thank you guys so much for sticking through this. If you've watched all this video, I really appreciate it, and I tried to keep it as short, as sweet as possible. But that's it. I love you guys so much. Be sure to check out our video Thursday. I don't know what it's gonna be yet, but it's gonna be a good one. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.
Yeah.